Hello, everyone. This is our series on corporate partnerships and how they develop. And today I'm fortunate to have Kate with us from DK Architects, who's on the start of her journey on a relationship with Nugent. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you.
Just tell us a bit about you and why and what DK Architects do.
Okay, so I'm Kate. I'm originally from Swansea in South Wales. I know my accent isn't really like that, but I've been up here now for just over 10 years. So I went to university in the Liverpool School of Architecture, and then I have just stayed in Liverpool. I absolutely love this place as a city. So I joined DK Architects then straight out of university, and I've in 2021, and I've been there ever since. So now I've grown up into an architect at DK. And for people who don't know, DK Architects, we are a Liverpool-based company, so we're based in the city centre. And we work across all sectors really, but primarily 70% of what we do is residential. So this ranges from one-off houses to large master plans, big regenerative schemes, and sort of everything in between. But my role at DK, I get involved in pretty much everything that I can. And we're really busy at the moment, and we have been for a while, but I work on affordable housing, high-rise development, one-off houses, and master planning as well. And to add to that busyness, I have just qualified as a Passive House certified designer. So very busy.
Congratulations. I have no idea what that means, but congratulations.
Thank you. It's sort of the next step for us to become more sustainable. So hopefully, my goal in my career is to work with RPs and social housing providers to provide buildings that cost the residents barely anything to run. Because with social housing, even though there are amazing opportunities for the buildings, fuel poverty is still really prevalent. So if you design something that costs nothing to run, then you're helping people who need it in more ways than just providing them a building. So I think that's just a really special thing to be able to say that you can do.
Yeah, I think that's, that regeneration scheme, which, I'm really passionate about, not just the social value on a scheme, but, and so what?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
So what brings you here today is that you have chosen Nugent to be your charity partner on your crazy idea of cycling from London to Paris.
Yes.
So tell us about the challenge.
So it's not myself personally that has set up this challenge. I'm part of the Women in Property networking organisation. So they look at providing opportunities for all genders, but to empower women within such a heavily male-dominated industry. So they set up networking events across the whole country, looking at lots of different ways of networking, but this specific type of networking takes it away from the traditional sort of drinks events, and looking at really engaging with people and putting ourselves through a little bit of a crazy challenge. What I really loved about this challenge specifically, so it's London to Paris, it's 180 miles over 3 days, and it's female only. So I thought that was just a really amazing thing to be part of. I can just imagine us all cycling through the streets of Paris, 50 women having achieved something so amazing. I can just imagine that being so empowering, and I can't wait to be a part of that.
Why have you picked Nugent as your charity?
So Nugent, it's just so prevalent in Liverpool. I've only lived here for 10 years, but a lot of the people in DK Architects have lived here their whole lives. So it's a really well-known name. And you hear about the massive positive impact that it can make. So my personal experience with Nugent, isn't as long-lasting as the company itself, the organisation itself. I went to the Nugent Gala last year, and I got to be a part of that amazing experience, but hear the stories that were told, especially Susie's story, and that was completely heartbreaking. I think in that moment, as soon as you'd come off the stage, I ran over and I was like, I've just signed up for this event and I really want to be part of that with you guys. I just really hope that even though this is one thing, it's not a little thing. I was about to call it a little thing. It's not. It's quite a big challenge. But my one thing, I hope that I can make a difference in someone else's life or multiple people's lives, depending on how far we could spread this as a fundraising activity.
I mean, just taking part in the challenge, you're raising awareness.
Yes, absolutely.
You're raising awareness in DK Architects. You're raising awareness in your Women in Property group, in your social network. So people don't understand the reach that, and again, it's not an easy challenge, but this challenge, the reach you will do for Nugent in terms of your network will be incredible. So thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Have you been a cyclist? Are you a cyclist?
I mean, I've always cycled. Swansea as a city isn't the most publicly accessible place. I mean, especially growing up, I didn't have a car myself, so I was always up and on my bike. But I've done a challenge like this, relatively similar challenge. I've cycled the central route of the Camino de Santiago back in school. So that was 2 weeks of cycling. I can't remember the distance, but it was ridiculous, just as like this challenge. So I've done stuff similar. I've done some of the Tour de France routes. I wouldn't call myself a cyclist per se, but yeah,
You're definitely
I've dabbled.
a bigger cyclist than me. What does the route involve?
So it's 3 days. It's the 23rd of September. We start on Blackheath Common in London. So day one is, I believe, 50 miles or 60 miles going down to New Haven onto the ferry, which I'm terrified of because I get massively seasick. So we'll see how that goes. And then day two, it's from Dieppe after the ferry crossing over to Beauvais. So that's through the beautiful French countryside, seeing some lovely historic little villages. And then the last day is from Beauvais over to Paris. And I believe we finish under the Eiffel Tower. So that's going to be incredible.
That's incredible. Is there anything you're nervous about?
I think cycling in London, it's not something I've ever done. And I know we've got a very, very early start to try and get ahead of the traffic, but I am still terrified of that traffic. I think, that's going to be my biggest challenge as well as the ferry.
I think when we're in London, just, at business events, seeing all the cyclists and the cars, just being a pedestrian, let alone a cyclist. So yeah, good luck in those cities.
Thank you.
Those cities. How's training been going so far?
It's not too bad. I can't say I've done any of the big cycle rides yet. They'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. I did 25 kilometers this morning before work. So
wow.
Yeah, it's going okay. Yeah, I feel like I keep relatively fit. I'm also doing the Manchester Half Marathon literally the week after the cycle ride. So
I'm exhausted. You're just talking about cycling marathons.
By the end of September, I think I'm going to need, I'm either going to be the fittest that I've ever been or I'm going to need a big nap. I don't know.
I'm sure you'll be the fittest you've ever been. What's the biggest challenge in preparing for the ride?
With cycling and in previous rides that I've done, it's not necessarily the cycle itself. It's finding really, really good padded cycling shorts. It's all about comfort. Sitting on the bike for 5 hours is not a nice challenge. The seats are not designed to be comfy, I'll tell you that now.
So you have to compensate that with padded shorts.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the main preparation and the main challenge.
How do you balance training along work and obviously any family commitments?
So I'm fortunate that I'm much more of a morning person. So I don't mind getting up at 5 a.m. to get down to the gym or get on my bike. And I'm quite used to that. I've been rowing for, since the London Olympics, so 2012. And they were always crazy early sessions. So I feel like my body's very used to that. And I think as well, just a very forgiving husband that will let me be out of the house for hours on end, either running, on a bike or on the water. So yeah, that really helps.
Why is it so important that you raise money for Nugent?
Oh, I mentioned that I'd heard Susie's story, and that really impacted me. It's personally really important for me. My husband's parents were both social workers before they retired. So they've had a background in really helping people and transforming people's lives. And the work that DK Architects do as well, we really try to provide developments and buildings that are positive and really impact people's lives in a positive way. And I really feel like there's a big synergy between what we do as a company and what you do as a company. Our sort of tagline, our ethos is people, places, buildings. That's what we do. That's our bread and butter. We help people. We provide them places to live and thrive in gorgeously designed buildings. Whereas Nugent, you are the people. You help the people. And I just think it's so important that, you know, as architects, as designers, we can work with people like yourselves, other registered providers, other developers to provide places that are actually going to make a difference. Because after hearing Susie's story, if my cycle ride can help at least one person on a different path, create a better impact, a different impact, not just from that age of 18, but for the rest of their lives, I'll be very happy. So,
and that will definitely happen.
Yeah, I hope so.
100% it will. The support, awareness, the money, but the awareness you raise of Nugent and what we do will have a legacy that will provide a lifelong support for people.
And I think as well, because DK Architects isn't just the four walls of our building. We've been a company for 40 years. So we've got this amazing network that we trust and we communicate with on a daily basis. And we've had contact with other people even before we've fully got on board with yourselves. So we really are hopeful that they are going to give their hearts as well to this and help spread that message.
Your values are, DK Architects, obviously I know a number of your colleagues as well, and I think the passion about making a difference comes across. So our values are definitely aligned. And, as you said, having those conversations from the people who provide that support enable your creative thinking while you're designing, and some of the schemes that I've been fortunate to see really do show that inspiration that you've got from listening to the stories, hearing the challenges we have, and that you can see that in your creativity.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned as well social value. That's such a key buzzword in everything we do with bids and frameworks and that. But a lot of the time it's sort of the way you have to go about it, the way you have to prove in projects that you meet that social value. It almost becomes like a tick box exercise, which isn't that, in my opinion, that's not how we should be approaching it. Being able to work with people like yourselves, with charity fundraising, things like this, or any other way you can get involved, that is true social value. It's not a tick box exercise. It's true.
No, and I think, and I know some local authorities now are doing it, that it's not just a compliance, it's actually got a quality score now, so I'm hoping that'll promote relationships like this even further to create social value and regeneration way past the scheme.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
So just talking about DK Architects, how supportive have they been, and how are your colleagues getting involved in this challenge?
They've been very, very supportive. I mean, initially allowing me to sign up for the challenge in the first place, that in itself is a great step. And they are going to be coming out on a few training rides with me. They might not like me at the end of things, but yeah, they will be supportive, and they are being incredibly supportive.
Do you want to do a shout out at who's going to come on those rides with you? As long as you don't shout out my name, that's great.
Every single person in my office will not be expected, but heavily encouraged. Hannah, who works with me, isn't the biggest fan of exercise in general. She will not mind me saying that at all. But even she said that she'll get on a bike, even though she gets out of breath by the end of the driveway. But,
Well, hopefully we'll get some pictures of that ride.
Yeah, definitely.
That we can post as well. What keeps you motivated through your training?
Motivation, it's thinking about the finish line as one thing, thinking about standing underneath the Eiffel Tower after finishing that cycle ride with all those inspiring women. That's point one. But point two is just knowing the difference that something like this can make, knowing the money that could be raised and the exposure that could be had. That's the real motivation, really. It's twofold.
A nice follow-up question. If you could cycle with anyone, past or present, who would it be?
As a fellow Welsh person, probably Geraint Thomas, most inspirational cyclist that I'm aware of. And I think he could give me some really good tips about getting over those hills on the last day of the cycle ride. I definitely need that.
So just tell everyone, maybe to the camera, how they can get involved, how they can donate to support this cause.
So I've got a Just Giving page, which Joe and the team at Nugent will be sharing, as well as ourselves at DK Architects. But if you aren't familiar with the amazing things that Nugent do, please just educate yourselves. Go on their website, read through their stories, read their pathways that they're bringing out to really make a true difference in people's lives. And anything that you can do, volunteering, setting up a charity event yourself, or just spreading the message of what Joe and the team do, that is enough to really make a good impact.
That's very well said. Thank you, Kate. I wish you all the best in this challenge and look forward to seeing your progress.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching our podcast on corporate relationships and fundraising.